All right, let's talk about something that's on a lot of people's minds: retirement. Specifically, how do you make sure your money lasts as long as you do? Well, one potential answer is something called an annuity. But man, it can be a really complicated piece of the puzzle. So let's dive in and see if it's the right piece for you.
Yeah, this right here is the big one, isn't it? It's probably one of the biggest fears people have. You work your whole life, you save, you invest, but then what? How do you actually turn that big pile of money into a reliable paycheck that you know for a fact won't ever run out? That's the exact problem we're going to tackle.
When you retire, that automatic paycheck from your job, it just stops. All of a sudden, you're in charge of building that income stream for yourself. And to do that, you need the right tools in your financial toolbox. An annuity is one of those tools, and it happens to be one of the most powerful, but also one of the most confusing. So what in the world is a deferred annuity? Well, if you boil it all down, it's basically a deal. It's a contract you make with an insurance company. You give them money now, and in return, they promise, they guarantee to pay you back later. That can be a steady stream of income for years or just one big check. The key word here is deferred. You're putting off that income for a future you. Every annuity basically lives two different lives. First up, you've got the accumulation phase. The best way to think about this is like you're filling up a giant water reservoir. You're making payments, your investment's growing, and that water level is just rising and rising. Then, once you're ready to retire, you flip the switch to the payout phase. You open the tap, and that income starts flowing back to you. Okay, now this is a really big deal. Taxed deferred growth. This is one of the main attractions of an annuity. See, in a normal investment account, you might have to pay taxes on your gains every single year. But with an annuity, your earnings get to compound and grow without that annual tax hit. It lets your money grow faster because you're not losing a slice of the pie to Uncle Sam along the way. You only pay taxes way down the road when you actually start taking the money out.
All right, so you're probably thinking, great, an annuity. But hold on, because they're not all created equal. They come in different flavors, and the two main ones are fixed and variable. And you absolutely have to understand the difference because it all comes down to one critical question. Who's taking the risk, you or the insurance company?
This chart breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got your fixed annuity. Think slow and steady wins the race. It's predictable. The insurance company gives you a guaranteed interest rate, and that's that. They take on all the market risk. On the other side, you've got the variable annuity. This is where you get more skin in the game. Your growth is tied to investments you pick, kind of like mutual funds. So you have a much higher potential for growth, but, and it's a big but, you're the one taking on the market risk. It really just comes down to how much risk you're comfortable with.
And, just to make things interesting, there's also a kind of hybrid option out there called an indexed annuity. The idea here is that your return is linked to a market index, like the S&P 500. It's designed to give you some of the market's gains when it goes up, but with some protection to limit your losses when it goes down. It's a complex middle ground, for sure.
So we've seen how they work, but now we get to the really, really crucial part: the pros and the cons, the good and the bad. Because look, annuities can be a fantastic tool for some people, but they also have some very serious drawbacks that you need to be crystal clear on before you even think about signing on the dotted line. So let's start with the good stuff. What's the big draw? Well, number one is that predictable, guaranteed income, often for the rest of your life. I mean, talk about peace of mind, right? We already covered the awesome power of tax-deferred growth. And with fixed annuities, your principal is pretty darn safe. Plus, a lot of them have death benefits, so if you pass away, your heirs can get what's left. Okay, but it is not all sunshine and rainbows. Let's flip the coin. Annuities are kind of famous for having high fees, much higher than what you might find in a 401k or an IRA. They are also super illiquid, and that's just a fancy word that means your money is tied up, it's locked away for a long time. The contracts themselves can be mind-numbingly complex, and if you need your money and try to pull it out early, you're going to get hit with some nasty surrender charges. Let's just focus on this number for a second. 10%. On top of any fees the insurance company hits you with, if you pull money out before you're 59 and a half, the IRS is generally going to slap you with a 10% tax penalty. And that's on top of the regular income tax you'll have to pay. The takeaway here is simple. This is long-term money, period. And when I say your money is locked up, I'm not kidding. That surrender period we just mentioned, that's the time when you'll pay a penalty to the company for taking your own money back. And these periods aren't short. They can last for years, sometimes even up to 15 years. That could be a decade and a half. So yeah, this is a huge long-term commitment.
So, after all that, after weighing the good and the bad, we land on the most important question of all. How in the world do you decide if an annuity actually fits into your personal financial plan?
This quote really nails the most common use case. An annuity is rarely supposed to be your only retirement plan. Think of it as a supplement. It's that extra layer of guaranteed income that you build on top of other things you might already have, like Social Security or a pension. It's meant to fill a very specific gap.
It's so important to see annuities as just one tool in a big financial toolbox, right? It sits there alongside your 401ks and your IRAs. And honestly, a lot of financial experts will tell you, because of those high fees we talked about, you should probably look at maxing out those other retirement accounts first before you even start to consider putting money into an annuity.
So we end right where we started, with the puzzle. An annuity can solve for one very specific, very valuable missing piece, a guaranteed paycheck that you can't outlive. But that guarantee comes at a price, usually high fees and very low flexibility. So the real question you have to ask yourself is this: what piece of your retirement puzzle is missing? Is it a guarantee? That's something only you can answer.